Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS. Now it's real time, sponsored by the Mill Casino.
Welcome back, everyone. Now we're going to join Big Dave. He's the owner of Big Dave's Fishing Adventures. We're going to find out how things are going along the north coast, chasing spring chinook as opposed to the Columbia and the Willamette, which are obviously much more popular. But I love these fish along the coast. Dave, first things first, man. It's good to see you, dude.
Good to see you guys. Good to see you.
How's things going this morning? Looks like a beautiful morning over there on the coast.
Yeah, it was a little foggy this morning, a little cool, but yeah, it's turned out to be a beautiful day. We've had a little action today. We've landed one and had a couple bites and had them in the gear a little bit. So we're fishing an incoming tide right now, and we're still a little ways to the top of our tide, but we're optimistic here for the next few hours.
Now, well, you mentioned tide. Is there a preferred? Do you like the incoming more so than the outgo, or vice versa?
Well, you know, I'll tell you what, these springers, it kind of changes around sometimes, but you know, the outgoing at the bottom of that outgoing, you get a little less water in here, and that'll concentrate them a little bit. But I have been having some good action on the top of that high tide with, you know, it pushing fish in too. And it kind of has been going. It'll kind of stay the same for a few days, and it might change up a little bit, but still the same. You know, those magic hours, an hour before, hour after the tide, there's usually some action.
Well, yeah, that's where that adage comes from, is the coast, of course. An hour before, an hour and after, sometimes can produce a little bit better. Well, tell us how the 2025 North Coast Spring Chinook season has been going up to this point. Did it start out good? I mean, have you peaked yet? Where are you at in it?
Yeah, you know, I started a few weeks back, and you know, right when I started, it was pretty slow. And then I had heard a little bit before I started there were a few more fish around. Then it kind of heated up. Had 3 or 4 pretty good days in there, and we had a few slow days. Then we had a couple good days, and now we're kind of in the middle. We're kind of in the middle right now as far as a whole. Fishing from one end to the other, it's kind of been that every other day bay.
That's a T-shirt, man. You should take that addicted shirt and go ahead and just put on every other day fishery. I love it. Okay, so right now you're trolling. You're probably in a little bit shallow water. Tell everybody how you're trolling and what you've been having your success with up to this point, and maybe again this morning.
Yeah, well, it's been a little bit of a mixed bag. I've been doing a little better on bait and stuffer baits for say than spinners. I did have a little bit warmer water a little while back where the spinners seem to be working a little bit better, but the fish that we've gotten today and the bites have been on, well, 1 on a bait and 2 on stuffer bait. So that's where I'm at right now, and that'll kind of change up for me too. Depending on where I'm at in these tides. When I get down to some of that, you know, real low water, if it's real clear and if it's sunny, then I'm going to put some more spinners on, a little smaller presentation. And on these incomings, though, a little more of the stuffer baits and the bait probably.
Now, I'm assuming that you've probably got a 360 or 2 out there. Would you still fish old school, like what a lot of folks have done up to this last, 5-10 years, just running a naked herring or maybe just a straight spinner, or are you sticking with a flasher and something behind it?
In the area I'm fishing right now, I'm running the 360s. When I'm down along the jetty and lower areas, your triangles work great. And I saw a guy get one the other day on one. But I would say that the majority of everybody is fishing 360s.
How's the grass been for you this year, or has it started?
Not terrible. We've had a few moments where there's been some, but some pretty clean water. A lot of times you can move around it, or you just might have to wait a couple hours where it just might be crappy for a few hours where you got to work a little bit, keep them clean. But one thing I will notice, we see a lot of when you are in the grass and that algae is around, the fish swim in that stuff. And I know it's a lot of work, but I do catch a lot of fish when it is grassy. They like to swim in that stuff. Sometimes I'll be in the super clear water and I'm not seeing them. I'm not marking as much. And I get into a little bit, those weed lines and a little bit grassy. They seem to move in there a little more.
That's a good point, because I know there's a lot of people, myself included, that once I see the grass, I get the heck out of there. That's why he's a guide, everyone, and I am not. Just that simple. Okay, so You're trolling right now. It's the end of May. You're not quite, maybe you're getting close to the peak of the season for spring Chinook. But do you make a change where you might not be trolling, where maybe you start to look for any number of tributaries up and down the coast where you might change up how you're going after them?
Yeah, as that water warms up, they're going to move into some different areas, some of the estuaries and stuff too. But pretty much, I'll fish these springers in this area till late June.
And you're not going to break out the bobber and eggs anywhere or travel up?
I already have. I already have.
Okay, I had to ask that question, everyone, because we all love to troll, okay? But there's nothing like watching a bobber sink no matter what time of year it is.
Yep, and there's some opportunity for that too. And, I would say this, if it ever rains, after a rain, that can be good for the bobber fishing.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we got any rain coming for a little while. Looks like it's going to get hot. Yeah, it might even get pretty popular for you here the next week. They're saying in the 90s coming up this upcoming week, so it's going to be cooler along the coast.
We'll be swimming in the backyard.
Yeah, no kidding. Sheesh, we're not going to go that far. Okay, so it's the end of May. You say that you fish these springers through June. I know there's folks out there that have always, every time we have you on, Dave, which, by the way, Dave is one of our highest requested interviews, everyone. But everybody always asks, can we get out and go fishing right after we have an interview with you? And I know that you're probably booked through June, but what's it looking like as we get further past spring and into summertime for you?
Yeah, well, normally I'm getting out of here, usually mid-June or so, but little bit of change. I am not myself going to Alaska this year. I'm gonna stay home with the family. They're my oldest boy there is getting a little too old with sports and everything. He can't be up there in the summer. So I'm making a change. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna fish. I'm gonna fish down here in an area I don't really want to say, but I'm gonna be fishing somewhere really cool, mid-July through August, and it's not Astoria. So I'll be, I'm going to be here fishing till the end of June for springers, and then move into some summer kings down here, and then we'll just roll right in the fall. And I got a little space in June, still yet for springers, and I've got some great space for that mid-July through August fishery.
Dude, that's awesome. I mean, I know that change is always tough. I don't care who you are, but when you do what Dave does, that can be pretty darn cool. And if I can guarantee right now, everyone, he's never said that he's got time down here. I've been interviewing him for a long time. Typically, that's not an option. Well, very cool, man. I'm glad to hear that you're going to be close to home. That means that I'm going to have to come out and enjoy that no-named area with you one of the days with a camera guy.
Yeah.
We'll kick Cameron and Marlon out of the boat so that you can get me in there with one of my guys.
There you go.
I love it. Well, hey, man, thanks for just spending a few minutes talking a little bit about, it's a very fickle fishery, everyone. It's one of those things that if you get a chance to learn about it, it's certainly something that you can get in on. But at the very least, get out there with Big Dave, and he'll put you on without having to, waste a lot of days and time trying to figure it out. Dave, as always, man, we appreciate it.
You bet. You guys have a good Memorial weekend.
Take care, man. Have a great Memorial Day weekend yourself. All right, we're going to cut to a break. When we come back, we've got our Chevy Silverado Tech Tip of the Week. And I love this one, mainly because it's easy. But I'm going to talk about my plunking setup that I switched to this past year. And maybe that's a good way to kind of frame it why I don't foresee myself changing. Going from 14-foot rods to 12-footers, it's kind of nice. I'll explain that when we come back from the break.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by Yakima Bait, steeped in tradition, innovation, and fishing success. Procure Bait Sense, ruthlessly effective. And by North American Metals Incorporated, first choice for all your metal roofing and siding needs.